Hey guys, Jason, and along with my co-host Rich.
Psych! Jared's here.
Yeah, that's right, because freaking Rich didn't want to record this week.
Didn't show up on Sunday.
Yeah, anyway, today we are not in Victory Brand Studios. We are at, what is this, the Delta or whatever, at the Oklahoma Sheriff's Association conference.
It's very awkward. I'm in a hotel room that smells weird.
All right, we're not going to start that stuff, but on this episode, we're going to talk about some recent events that had just taken place while we're up here, and also the guy that was involved with it.
It's not always fun and games for first responders.
05 Central, you show me in pursuit.
But sometimes it is.
Oh my God, he's not wearing pants again.
Sometimes it's dangerous.
Flipping around, look out, look out, look out.
Sometimes it's not.
Antler Boulevard for a snake in a house.
And sometimes it's just plain stupid.
Chihuahua in his lap on a lawnmower.
This is the stupid side of first response.
Dispatch, do I really have to go to that?
This is Code 0.5.
Come in 0.5.
All right, guys, on today's episode, we're up here at the Sheriff's Association at the conference. And when did this happen?
Yesterday
So
morning.
we're recording on Thursday.
So Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh, and then, another thing we can start this out with. As of today, I'm a man. I'm 40.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
Anyway, we're all here at work, and then the scuttlebutt going around, everybody talking. We hear that a deputy in
Cleveland.
I mean, it's out there, in Cleveland County was shot. I don't know all the details. I haven't asked specifically with that agency, but just hearing the information that's kind of flown around, and it's a really cool thing because last night we had a dinner, and during that dinner, they, told us that, hey, as information comes out, we'll let you guys know. And as soon as it's let out, if we need to release everyone to go help, then, so basically, it's not all the sheriffs, and there's 77 counties in the state.
Yeah,
I think 72 are in the Sheriff's Association.
There's 77 counties in the state. I think there's 73 or 74 that, something like that. So you've got 70, let's just say 72.
Yeah.
Sheriff's offices that the minute that they would have called and said, hey, we need help, you're going to have, a whole bunch of people. But they had a bunch of coverage too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was basically in a pursuit. Don't know why yet. And they, from what I got told, they TVI'd the guy, and bad guy jumps out and starts shooting rounds into the deputy's car and hit him. And, then from what the news is saying, an innocent bystander, was driving down the road in a dump truck and got shot. So, and they're still looking for him.
And we haven't heard yet. Was it just he was just making a traffic stop, or?
Not sure. I know that guy. He did interdiction stuff at a different county.
Yeah.
And, I think he was fixing to start doing some interdiction stuff for that district.
Oh, okay.
So for people that don't know that either, you have your district attorney districts, they're in,
we can just say that District 23 is Pottawatomie and Lincoln County.
Yep. Yeah. So District 21 is Garvin, I think McLean and Cleveland.
Yeah.
So they have 3 counties. So if you were to be cross-commissioned with their DA's office, you could essentially do interdiction over across all three counties. So
yeah, and a lot of people don't know that the DAs or district attorneys will have task force that they set up and
have a state commission.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure there'll be more info pushed out, probably even today. I know that I called to check on him this morning. He was doing good.
Okay. Yeah, that's me. The next thing I said is that he was in stable condition. So
Hell of a fighter. So
yeah, and the crazy crap is was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? Me and you were in an investigator school or whatever, and I sat right next to the guy
for
and
2 weeks.
Yeah, he's a pretty funny dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, I went to that narcotics investigator class. That was a blast too, man.
Yeah.
Learned a whole lot of stuff in that. But yeah, this, have you looked this guy up yet?
No, I mean, you were telling me earlier, asking me about it if I'd looked him up, and I was like, no. So then I just briefly kind of kicked something up.
Oh yeah, let them know. Go and go back and count how many felony, just the felonies, not even the convictions, real quick, because I'm curious how many times he's been charged that there's been probable cause to arrest him on a felony.
Well, and then the other thing is too, it's all over their Facebook. It's all over the internet. The what should we call him? I'm not going to call him by his name. His name is Scumbag Piece of Shit. Well, I mean, you are. I'm looking at it right now, and you guys know how I am. I call it. I can see it on here. There's, let's see, since 2015, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 felony counts that he's been charged with. So there's been probable cause to charge him with something.
Okay, 6 felony counts that he's been charged with.
And some of these are convictions. One of them that I looked at real quick was aggravated assault and battery. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, in case y'all don't know, there's assault and battery, and then there's aggravated, which means like somebody was severely hurt whenever he attacked them.
Okay, so he, according to his DOC, he's currently on probation.
Oh.
He got a conviction out of Cleveland County for maiming, which if nobody knows what maiming is, it's a pretty serious deal. That was in 2016. He got a 10-year probation. Then in Oklahoma County, assault and battery with a deadly weapon, 85% crime, right? Mm-hmm. 85% crime, and he was convicted in 2016 of 9 years. So he had to do 85% in 9 years. Yeah, so I mean, what is 85% in 9 years then?
That'd be 7 years.
So
15.
then
he would have like just got out.
So he would have just got out of prison.
So what did I call him? Asshole piece of shit.
Yeah.
Attacks and fights and beats up people severely. Mm-hmm. He goes into prison, gets incarcerated.
Get this, bro. I'm sorry.
He gets out, and then what's he do? He starts doing the same shit all over again.
So he's got another maiming from 2016. Or hold on, 754. So the way DOC's deal is it lists it multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he just got out of prison March 31st of this year. Failure to register as a violent offender. Has a conviction for that. Carrying a firearm. Has a conviction for that. So he has. I mean, like so there's multiple things on here. So he's been suspended on these. Like he got probation, and I guarantee you he had a probation violation, and he went back because it shows incarceration, reception, 9/16 on an 85% crime. He went in 16, and it shows that he was discharged in 17. So it's that criminal justice reform that they're pushing. And there's a cop right now that's laying up in a hospital because this piece of crap.
So, and maiming is where you hurt somebody severe enough that they have permanent body damage from it.
Yeah.
So he injured someone so bad that that whatever part of his body or whatever is damaged so bad that they will never have normal use of it. And let's get his ass back out on the streets. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's proved, what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times that he cannot be in society because he's a scumbag piece of shit.
So, correct me if I'm wrong on this. The closest thing that we have to like an attempted murder is a shooting with intent.
Yeah.
And I think I think the max on that isn't very much.
I'd have to look it up.
So he'll go and get out of prison again. I mean, he's what, 30?
Yeah, he'll be back out.
He's got an active warrant.
Yeah, right now he does.
What's it for?
Murder, shooting with intent, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony, and then possession of firearm after former felony conviction.
Oh, okay. So so that's might be why they were after him, because he had a felony murder warrant.
Yeah.
So he's got a felony murder warrant out of what county?
Well, this is just saying it's Garvin County.
He got a freaking felony warrant after being to prison for slowly increasing his violent tendencies.
Yep.
Has a felony murder warrant and then shoots and tries to kill a cop.
We'll have more coming up on Code 0.5.
If you're looking for a political podcast that goes beyond the headlines, check out the Beltway Briefing. I'm Howard Schweitzer, CEO of Cozen O'Connor Public Strategies. Every week on the Beltway Briefing, our team of former Republican and Democratic presidential appointees, Capitol Hill veterans, and political advocates shares behind-the-scenes perspective that cuts through the noise. If you want the inside scoop, subscribe now to the Beltway Briefing here or wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, and there's drugs tied to it, too.
Oh, go figure.
One of his charges is having proceeds from unlawful distribution of CDS.
So he has proven to himself that he cannot be a productive member of society.
Yeah. And he's done it multiple times.
So he's just wasting oxygen at this point in time.
Exactly. And, and they talk about, like, oh, incarceration rates are so high and all this stuff. This dude's been convicted I don't know how many times and never was put in.
Never went to prison.
Yeah, and it's like, and they'll complain about, certain people get put in prison more than others and all this. And it's like, okay, this person here, just counting, he had 6 or 7 times that he was charged with a felony. Mm-hmm. Look at all the chances that he got, and no point in his life did he stop and pull his head out of his ass and stop doing his bullshit.
And I don't want to hear the excuses of upbringing and all this other stuff. I mean, you kind of know my backstory and how I grew up. I had every opportunity to end up like that, and I chose a different path. And unfortunately, one of my brothers, he's doing good now, chose the other and has been in and out of jail and in and out of prison. And so you can't say, oh, well, his dad wasn't in his life. My dad was a death row inmate.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't in my life.
Well, and they talk about how, and this will probably piss a lot of people off, how whenever there's divorce, the children most of the time go to the mother. Mm-hmm. There's been research and studies done that children that grow up in a fatherless home are more likely to commit crimes or be put in jail or prison than in homes where there's a father present, or if they live with their father solely.
It's true, too.
Because they're saying that with the mother, they'll provide the nurturing and be sweet and all this, but with the father is where the discipline comes.
Whenever I was, luckily, I was a kid and I got into some trouble and spent some time in a juvenile facility.
Yeah.
Luckily as a kid, none of that affects you. It wasn't anything major, just making dumb decisions as a kid.
Well, kids do stupid stuff.
Well, that was back in the day where you would run away from home and they would throw you in jail.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. But that at a young age, seeing that and not wanting that is what made me stick on a straight path.
And see, I always thought that, like, if, as a kid, you always saw that, like, a parent was getting in trouble and always getting hauled off to jail and it was causing problems in the family, that a kid would be like, I don't want that for me. I don't want that to be my life.
Yep.
And ultimately, the person or kid or whatever still has to make a choice. They choose to do those things. Because it seems like in society, all we do now is we make excuses for every damn thing someone does instead of just saying, no, bullshit. We're holding them accountable for their actions. I don't give a shit what they went through when they were a kid. And like this old boy here that's doing all his stuff, they'll say that or whatever. And it's like, I don't give a shit. He's a habitual offender. He's a violent offender that, it's obvious he will beat somebody. Mm-hmm. so bad to where they can't function normally anymore. He doesn't need to be out. We're in the public.
Yep.
He's a danger to society.
Mm-hmm. So this is, another thing, whenever this kind of stuff happens, falls back on the last 2 episodes that we talked about law enforcement burnout and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You get the people on Facebook that just talk trash. I was just looking at a Facebook post, and there's this guy named Rayon, Rayon, and it's twice on there.
Yeah.
And he commented on a post about this deputy being shot, saying he needs prayer, physical therapy, and performance training. It's not safe to be out of shape and serving anywhere.
And the dude's not really out of shape.
No, he's not. He's
kind of. I mean, if he got into a fight, he'd whoop your ass.
He could probably bench a freaking car.
Yeah.
I mean, he's stout.
And if you get if in that situation, he knew the guy was there, so it technically wasn't an ambush. But you're not prepared for somebody to just ass end out of their car and just start firing on you.
Yep.
Nobody is going to be able to, unless the guy can't shoot worth a damn. You're not going to be prepared for that, especially since they TVI'd him. It's helter skelter right there for a minute.
Mm-hmm. Here's what I've learned though, man, is it doesn't matter. Someone's always going to talk bad, and it's sad that our world is like that right now. You have a father and a husband who is in a hospital and has been shot by some piece of crap.
Yeah,
and it's your first thought to say something negative whenever he's out there serving it. He's going to have permanent damage for the rest of his life from serving his community and making,
that's how he'll get treated.
Yeah. And making $50,000 a year, probably 55 at their county, I think is what they make, somewhere between 50 and 55,000.
Yep. You're right.
The same thing whenever one of our deputies got shot. So, I mean,
and you get all these people that'll go on there, the keyboard warriors that'll go on there and talk shit.
I like to call them couch cowboys.
Yeah. And they're talking shit out of ignorance because and I'm not saying they're stupid. They're not studious of it. They have no idea how it works. And so they're just flapping their gums. And then these agencies, and we'll do this, even this show does this where people can ask questions, but nobody will. So they won't come to community events where you can educate them. You can talk to them. I had a guy mad at me recently because he said that an officer wouldn't go out and go arrest this dude. And I was like, for what? And he was like, well, he said that he was going to hurt my wife or something. But when I looked into it, that never happened. So I don't know where he got it from.
Hurt feelings.
And I tried to tell him, I was like, dude, I said, I can't go arrest him if he commits a misdemeanor. And then he goes, yes, you can. And I was like, no, sir, if there's certain misdemeanors I can, but if he does a misdemeanor not in my present, I can't just go arrest him. I have to file a warrant. And he's like, that's bullshit. You're telling me if I went and killed somebody right now, you couldn't arrest me? And I was like, that's a felony. That's different.
That's what we call a felony, sir.
And he goes, no, it's not. That's not different. And I was like, what? I was like, so if a guy is standing out in the roadway 200 yards from your house and says that he's going to beat up your wife, which I don't know how she could hear that 200 yards away inside her house. You want me to go and run and arrest him for that? And you also consider that the same as murder?
Yeah. And
I tried to explain it to him, and that's when he started cussing at me and yelling. And I was like, well, sir, I can see we're not getting anywhere with this conversation. If there's anything else you need, just give us a call back. And I hung up. Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to have somebody berate me and yell at me or whatever over something that they don't understand. And when I try to explain it to them, they,
I think people get so. Here's another thing that in reference to that is retired cops. They're like, oh, I worked for so and so for 30 years, 15 years ago. I'm like, okay, a lot has changed in 15 years, homeboy.
Yeah,
and they'll try to tell you how to do your job or something.
But a lot has changed in the last 2 years.
Yeah. But it's people. I don't get it, man. I mean, our nation is in such a divide, and it's sad.
And see, like, you know, and I was asked by a captain, how come I didn't want to go to that investigator school with you? Mm-hmm. And I was like, because it's narcotics. I don't care about drugs because I like recovering stolen property. Mm. Well, then you get in there and you start going over it. And I'm like, it's hand in hand. It's the
same thing.
I mean, you get the tweaker that'll go out and steal shit so he can get his next score. So if you pick up a tweaker, it might be able to recover some stolen property or vice versa.
And
I'm glad I went to it now.
How long have I been doing this?
Since Moby Dick was a minnow.
Yeah, no, I wish. I'd be close to retirement. So 2012.
Yeah.
So 12 years.
Yeah.
There's been probably one or two cases where I've dealt with somebody that stole something like a vehicle or did a burglary on a house, and they were not on drugs. They just they did it for the money. You know, and so that's the biggest problem. Well, I mean, look at this guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got drug charges and everything, but guess it's all a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, we were in that class, and their guy that goes to the state capitol, and some of their general counsel was there for the state agency. So they have their own attorneys. I don't think a lot of people, I didn't know that. I thought
I didn't know
had
that either.
like one, they have like 5.
Yeah. I wish we had some.
Yeah. And so we were talking about that, like, hey, when are they going to make it where like a subsequent offense is a felony for possessing freaking fentanyl or methamphetamine, you know, which fentanyl, the bar is so low on that you get trafficking, you know, by having, I think it's 5 grams, something like that. Or no, maybe it's a gram. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up again.
I don't know. We went over
I've got a cheat
Maybe
sheet.
5 was heroin and 1 was...
I can't remember. I got a cheat sheet. And they said, well, there's talks, but they want to do it to where it's like, what, a 4th and subsequent? I'm like, so you want me to catch somebody with methamphetamine or heroin or fentanyl, stuff that's killing people 4 times.
But you got to have 4 convictions.
Yeah, 4 convictions.
Yeah.
Before it's a felony.
So you could catch them 8 or 9 times before they get 4 convictions.
Yeah. And well, you know, the answer to the drug problem isn't putting people in jail. Then what is it?
It'll damn sure sober them up.
Because what we need to do is figure that out. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere. Because that's probably just a deal for another episode, getting off on the drug stuff. But I mean, it's insane. And then you get people like this guy who get what, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, there's like 6 of them.
6, 7. 6,
Yeah,
just
6 or 7.
7 chances. There was probable cause, which probable cause means that there was enough there to arrest somebody for a crime. So there was evidence that a reasonable person would believe a crime was committed, right? Oh no, that'd be reasonable suspicion. Yeah. So there was probable cause, basically more than likely this person did it. He was arrested 7 times on felonies, and then got out. Committed, didn't even go do it 85. Didn't even do his 85%.
Nope.
Got out early, then went back to prison because he violated again. Now he has a felony. He murdered. That felony murder warrant. When was that issued? It
says October 4th.
On the murder warrant?
Yeah, on that out of Garvin County. I can't find a.
Pull it up again. I'm curious because I was curious if that felony murder warrant was from yesterday.
I think it is because I've looked at his. I'm sitting here looking at his like recent stuff, and there isn't anything with murder on it.
When was that filed?
Oh, that might have been for the guy in the truck.
What's the date on it? Yep.
October 4th. That was for the guy in the truck. The innocent bystander.
So he didn't have a murder charge before that. So now he has a felony murder, shooting with intent, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm after former felony conviction.
Yeah.
So those are the charges that they're getting him with right now off of that event. So he didn't actually have a murder warrant out for him.
until he did
until he did that. So he escalated to murder. And not only that, killed an innocent person.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't it like a truck driver that was driving down the road and he shot him?
Yeah, in a dump truck, or like a semi truck. So that
and
answers.
If we weren't so weak on punishment, this dude wouldn't be out and this wouldn't have happened. Well, no, if he'd have done 85%, he would have like just recently gotten out. Didn't you say he got out after like a year or two on that one?
Yeah, it shows that he had a discharge date. He went in 16 and went out in late 17.
Yeah, and he should have been in there for at least 7 years.
Yeah, unless I'm reading all that wrong. Some of that DOC stuff is weird to read because they put one charge on there like 6 times each time that they're...
Yeah.
Either way, killed somebody, a good productive member that was working more than likely if they're driving a dump truck, and then tried to kill a police officer who's protecting the community. So it's, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and that's why I keep calling him names. I'm not gonna mention his name because out of all these people that were involved, the ones that should be remembered are the ones driving the truck, and then the officer that was protecting his community. The scumbag piece of shit that did it, nobody needs to remember his name.
No.
And since he killed that old boy and all that, and then tried to kill the officer, he's not a productive member of society. He habitually commits violent crimes. Now he's killed someone and tried to kill somebody else. Just give him the needle. I mean, he can't be out. The needle is what he needs.
You know what's sad is there's people that doesn't think there needs to be a death penalty.
Yeah. Well, and those same people that think that there doesn't need to be a death penalty are also the ones that are, I probably shouldn't get off into it. You know I'm going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's, it was like that one instructor we had in that class. And whenever she said that we are re-traumatizing people by convicting them of crimes. Like not only is the victim traumatized in a crime, but the suspect is traumatized.
Oh.
Because then they go to prison.
Oh.
And she was talking about how one of our prisons doesn't have AC.
Oh, wow.
And they have fans and their air conditioners went down. And so that's traumatic to them and all this stuff. And I'm like, you don't think it was traumatic that they raped a freaking kid?
Yeah.
Or that they shot and killed somebody's mom? Because they're not in a low, this was in Big Mac in McAllister. So the people that go there mostly have some violent stuff.
And see, I've been told, and I've never done this before, but like to rent a home in Oklahoma, one of the necessities that the home has to have is heat. It doesn't have to have cooling.
Right.
So for law-abiding citizens, they can go through life without cool air. But then she's saying that this guy's getting traumatized that's in prison because he doesn't have cool air.
What the hell did they do back in the freaking 1900s and 20? I mean, when air conditioning didn't come around until what?
Hell, I don't know.
The 50s?
But them guys that are in there locked up for stuff, I mean, screw them.
Yeah.
They made the decision out here. I mean, and where they came from, they probably didn't have, cool air blowing in their house either. And that's another thing. We talk about the tweakers and the stealing stuff and committing these crimes and all that.
There ain't no way.
What?
The first modern air conditioner was invented in 1902.
Really?
That's what it says here.
This is where we need rich.
Okay, but by the late 1960s, most new homes had central air conditioning.
Oh.
Yeah.
But and remember this when it comes time to vote.
Yeah.
And these idiot lawmakers that have no clue of how the world works. Like, we'll go through and arrest somebody for committing larceny, and they've changed the threshold for that, larceny and grand larceny, and they can commit this crime 10, 15, 37 times before they'll finally get locked up. And since they changed that threshold, these guys are getting out all the time. So now property crime's going up. They need to get that money for their next fix. And have you ever looked at it? Those guys will steal something say they'll steal a trailer that a normal person would buy for like $2,000. They'll spend all this time stealing this trailer, and then they need to sell it quick. So they'll sell it for like $500. If they would go and get a regular hourly rate job, they would make more damn money than what they were doing stealing.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole thing's ridiculous too, man. That thanks to, I believe that was Chris Steele here in Oklahoma that helped push that. So I would like to see, never mind.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show, I mean, there's a person that's trying to push and pass, the so-called reform and change laws and stuff. And the only thing that it's helping is the damn criminal, and it hurts the victim.
They're wanting to do bail reform in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
I saw in LA County, they did away with bail for most crimes.
Unless it's a violent crime, it would basically be they're looking at a book in, book out, or a cite and release like you do on traffic citations. So, and there's like misdemeanor domestic violence. They don't consider a violent crime. I don't believe. And so it would be like a book in, book out thing. And that's what they're doing in California. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like it's bad enough with the issue that we have in our city with the downtown area, looking like mini Seattle.
Yeah. You can see those guys watch them on camera, lighting up pipes and smoking it right there. Smoking meth in a city park that kids used to go to, and they can't now because the homeless people are sleeping all over it. So our tax dollars are going to maintain a park for the homeless to sleep in, and they're sleeping in the park because the city allows them to, and they know that the police officers in that town won't mess with them. Well, you know why that happens?
Because they're allowing them, and they won't trespass them.
It's because all that crap that's happened out on the West Coast that is not working. That town hired a city manager from that area. Then she brings her crap over here, and it's not working here either.
Yeah,
if it didn't work,
Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it didn't work there, it damn sure doesn't work here.
Look at how well Seattle's doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's absolutely hilarious. Not for the citizens in these towns, but back towards the elected officials and everything in all these towns, that they can't even, like Chicago, I think it was. I was listening to a podcast the other day. Chicago is down 1,600 officers.
Yeah.
They can't get Oklahoma City, which is a great agency to work for. We got an awesome chief. He's they're very involved in the community, but they're not super stringent, like a lot of these other agencies. Like there's,
they're big on proactive policing and getting out in your community and, working.
Yeah. And they only had like 15 that went through an academy recently, and they used to have 50 or more.
Yeah.
A sheriff from down south on the border of Oklahoma and Texas was telling me that the criminals just south of the Texas border know that the sheriff in that county and the state police, that once it crosses state lines, they terminate pursuit.
Yeah.
And so they all run into Oklahoma. And so they pick up pursuits that come out of Texas, like felony suspects and stuff. And he said, we'll pursue them until even if they go to Kansas, we're going to continue to pursue them.
Yeah.
Well, the minute people know that they will not be held accountable and they're a criminal, they're going to do whatever they can to get away with as much as they can.
Exactly.
Just like all these municipalities that are doing these no pursuit policies. Don't get me wrong, if you're pursuing over a broken taillight and that's all the information you have, I get it. But if you're going after a murder suspect or a violent person, that needs to be taken into custody,
game on.
Then I think that they need to be taken into custody.
Yeah.
Now, if it starts to get super dangerous to where, but there's been very few pursuits that I've seen, especially in our area, that have gotten that way to where I was like, we should probably stop.
Yeah. You're going through a school zone, stuff like that. Yeah. We're stopping this shit because I ain't letting a little kid get hurt because that guy's an idiot.
Yep. Or just like minor felony stuff, like if somebody had a felony burglary warrant.
Yeah.
And they're acting stupid and running from me, I'm not going to continue. I mean,
if they're endangering the public,
you hit and kill somebody over a burglary.
Yeah.
We know who they are. But if they've murdered somebody my big thing is children. If you have done anything to hurt a child or anything against a child, I will hunt you down to the ends of the earth. Not in like that aspect, like to get you into jail
and bury you under it.
so that you can, yes, so you go to prison the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
And that's what needs to happen with this dude that shot this deputy.
I guess we'll see what happens with him. You got to talking about some other stuff, and I want to kind of keep going with this, but I don't know how people like longer form episodes. I've had some people tell me they need to be longer, and some people are like, no, about 30 minutes is good because, like, that's how long their commute is. So when they get home, it's about ending and then, or get to work or whatever. But
man, I've listened. So even some of the episodes that we've recorded, and then because I like to listen to them afterwards to see if they sound good and like anything.
Yeah.
But then like even ones I've listened where you and Rich were on by yourselves, I was like, man, I wish they would have dove off into some of that stuff a little bit more.
Well, there's a couple of things I could dive off more into what we're talking about.
I mean, and hey, I mean, what's today?
Today's October 5th.
Yeah, it's Thursday. I mean,
yeah, let's just keep talking because you're talking about changing laws and legislature and all that stuff. One of my favorite ones, and air quotes, was that change to where when you take somebody to jail and they have to get a fit for confinement.
Oh, dude.
They changed that law where you take somebody in there. It doesn't have to be a medical professional that tells you they need to go to the hospital to get checked out. Any jackass in there can say it.
Yeah, it can be an 18-year-old that they just hired as a jailer.
Yeah.
2 days ago, and then they got cut loose on their own. They just, you need a fit slip.
Yeah, and the guy could have a broken fingernail.
Yeah.
Oh, he needs a fit for confinement.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's
and they won't accept him. And you can't. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. So
Get this. Let me tell you this shit. One of our guys arrests somebody for Berg 1. They break into a house, and the people that own the home are in the home. We get there. The guy had ran out the door. It was a woman, I think, ran out the back door. They nab her. Okay. She's high as a kite, and she broke into someone's home. They go to the jail. They want to fit for confinement. We go to the hospital. The girl there refused to give the hospital her name or any information, and her blood pressure was like slightly elevated. So the hospital wouldn't give a fit for confinement. The jail wouldn't take her. So we had to just release her.
No, so there's there is I have to read it, but if they refuse treatment,
yeah,
like if she is refusing to give her name and says I don't want medical treatment or whatever, then they can't refuse to take that person. You just have to have documentation of the refusal from a medical facility.
I freaking hate it.
What was her blood pressure?
I don't know what it was. No, maybe it was her sodium was low or something like that.
That's stupid.
And yeah, so the jail wouldn't take her. So we just let her go. She's out breaking into people's houses high as can be, and there was nothing we could do. They need to remove that crap.
Yeah.
Or it has to be a medical professional.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then they need to put medical professionals in that damn jail that can clear them themselves.
I'm even good. So they have LPNs and stuff that work there. I mean, I'd be good with an LPN coming and checking someone out and saying, I think they need to get checked out. Like if someone is overly intoxicated and they can't walk on their own without stumbling and running into something, I'll take them to get a fit slip.
Yeah. There are some times that I'll take them straight to the hospital, make sure they're okay, and then take them over there.
Yeah.
But like, and we take them to the hospital, and like the doctors there are pissed because they're like, they told me that it's like 80% of the time the people that are brought there do not need to be there.
Yeah.
And all they do is like check their blood pressure and their heart rate. Then they fill out a fit for confinement and give it to him. And the doctor goes, I'm good, because at that moment they were fit. As soon as they leave here, that could change. He said, so this fit for confinement doesn't really mean shit.
And I don't think that those jails are getting that, because that's what a lot of them wanted that for. So there's some sheriffs that had that got in on getting that passed because they still run jails, right?
Yeah.
What I don't think they understand, and this is the way that I view it, and I'm not an attorney, so I could be wrong, right?
Yeah.
If I arrest you, and I go to the jail, and you say he's not fit for confinement, A jailer does. Okay, well, they don't have any medical experience or anything.
Yeah.
Take you to the hospital. They say, yep, you're fit for confinement. Ominous dominus. We get you over there. You get booked in, and something happens to you while you're in the jail. They're thinking that it's going to release like liability from them because you were fit for confinement. All that's saying is that you were fit to go to jail, and then something happened while you were inside their jail, and something happened to you.
Yeah.
So whose fault is that?
It'll be at the jail.
'Cause you're in custody of them.
And that was my whole thing. It's like the doctors were saying, it's like, this is stupid because all we're saying is at 10 a.m., that person was fit.
Yeah.
At 10:01, they could become unfit.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's like, it's not covering their butts. Once they get there, they're still responsible for them.
Yeah. I understand the concept like behind it.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, like you said, hire medical professionals. I might with an LPN.
Yeah.
You come in there, take blood pressure, vitals, hell, do an EKG if you want to, right? And check them out because you can tell a lot by an EKG.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell a lot by blood pressure, a lot by their heart rate. And if they feel that they need to be looked at further, then take them to the ER. All an ER is for, though, and this is what I don't. This is what I don't understand. An ER is just if there's something wrong right now, they level you out so that you don't die.
Yeah,
and that you're okay. They're not like we brought a lady in there that had like stage 2 cancer, and they're nope, need a fit slip for what? Well, because she has cancer. Okay, she's gonna have cancer whenever I bring her back.
Yeah,
an ER is just to stabilize you. And I've been told that by ER docs.
Yeah, so, and now the ER docs get pissed because it's like this is not what we're here for. Mm-hmm. So now we have to give up a room for somebody to go in there and sit that there's absolutely nothing wrong with them.
Dude.
All because they had a broken fingernail when the freaking jailer saw them.
And not only that, if you only have 3 guys out on patrol, like we do in our county most of the time, or 4 right now, well, I know we're back. We're getting better.
Yeah.
We're fully staffed. I mean, we just got guys in training. But even if you had 6 guys out on patrol, 7, like you're supposed to, and this dude makes an arrest and has to take him. Okay, so the call comes in at 5 p.m. By the time they get there, it may be 5:30. By the time they deal with the call and arrest the person, it's 6:30. By the time they get him to the jail, it's about 7:15. By the time the jail tells them they need a fit slip and they take him to the hospital, it's 7:30, 7:45. By the time they get him in, he has spent, by the time we get done with that one call, that one deputy has spent his entire shift. Now he still needs to do a PC affidavit. He still needs to do this. Mm-hmm. So you're wasting resources because you think that you're covering yourself. But these same jails, most of them won't train their detention officers how to properly. They don't give them custody and control training because they also think it's a liability. It's a liability. You can get sued by that person for failure to train.
Yeah.
If I'm your employee and you fail to train me, I can sue you for failure to train if something happens.
I was in there talking to the jailers before, and they were talking to me about people that are in like crisis that maybe need emergency detention.
Yeah, like mental health stuff.
And I told them, I was like, okay, I go, but you do realize that if I go over there and they say, yes, they need that there's another statute that says that criminal trumps the emergency detention. So they have to come back here. And they're like, oh no, they don't. So I take them over there and I've talked to the doctor and he's like, wait a minute. He goes, if this woman or person or whoever meets criteria, are they still going to jail? And I'm like, yes. And he goes, oh, okay. So then he just signs a fit for confinement and releases them. Because he's like, yeah, no matter what I do here, when they get their evaluation and everything, they still have to go to jail.
So I'm a firm believer in the mental health stuff that if it wasn't a violent crime,
yeah,
and they need mental health treatment, we need to get them that mental health treatment. And then, like, I'll file a warrant for them or something. Because in our district, we have mental health court now.
Yeah.
And well, I guess we've had it for a couple of years. That's one thing that our former district attorney, I guess, didn't screw up. And so they can go to mental health court. It's kind of like drug court. As long as you're doing all your mental health stuff, taking your medicine, going to meetings, then the charge basically goes away, right? And so we've had guys that have arrested people because they didn't want to EOD them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help the person in jail at all. Because then the jail staff, who is not trained at all to deal, most of them are not trained at all to deal with that. Then they're interacting with them, and they're not getting treated right. So,
okay, what? And I've never worked in a jail before. What training do they have?
Well, they have to. They have to do continuing education training, just like we do. But it depends on the facility. Really, there's nothing mandating.
Oh, okay.
There's specific training that they have to have, but there's nothing saying that they have to have custody and control training, which they need to.
Oh, yeah.
That needs to be one of the things. So there's some jails that you may not get any of that. You may not have any, custody and control training, but they have continuing education stuff like for mental health. Just a bit, as well as I do. You can go to some of those mental health classes, and it's just.
Well, and I'd say, because, and all of us, we all talk crap to everybody. But like those jailers will say something about how they're, in law enforcement or whatever. And I'll look at them and be like, what? I'm like, what law are you enforcing? No, you're a babysitter. And they're like, no, we're not. They get all offended. And I'm like, look, I say this to everyone, but cops are first responders. Fire and reactor second responders, and jailers are babysitters. And they get so butthurt. It's like,
there's some of them that are certified police officers.
Yeah.
But
I'm me, I'm one of those that likes getting people riled up. Well, you do the same shit. You get my wife riled up and.
Oh yeah. She's mad at me right now. She's mad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that we carry intelligence. So I'm a firm believer also, though, that as part of a field training program, I think every police officer needs to go work in a jail for a couple weeks. It will open your eyes.
Yeah. I also think that if you did that, though, you wouldn't have as many applicants.
Well. I mean, we don't really have that many good applicants right now anyway. We got a guy that goes around and sniffs people and tells them they smell different whenever they're awake.
Oh, yeah. Cops are just a different breed of cat.
They are weird, man. I'm telling you. It's scary.
Yeah. Well, like the conference that we're at right now, it's nice because everybody here, we all know we're cops. Most people that are here are armed. So you can kind of let your guard down and you can relax. You don't have to worry about, all right, is this asshole over here fixing to pull a gun and do something? And then am I going to have to protect this person? Where am I pointing my egress and ingress? And, you can just kind of let your hair down, The only
thing you have to worry about is getting food poisoning and throwing up.
Yeah. And it's like, man, this is so nice because I don't have to worry about that crap right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that, well, I mean, y'all especially, but I guess I got the short end of the stick this year because I'm on call. So the guys will call me every now and then. And the one you're talking about saying the smelling or whatever while you're awake.
Yeah.
He called me a while ago and I was like, dang it. I did not want to answer because I'm sure he did it to you. You call him and whenever he answers the phone, he'll go, hey, daddy.
Yeah, dude, it's so weird.
And it's creepy and he won't stop.
Yeah.
But I answered, and he was normal this time. And he was like, hey, man, I heard today's your birthday. Oh, yeah, it is. And he's like, well, I just wanted to call and tell you happy birthday, Step Sergeant. I was like, okay, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope he orders that T-shirt.
And then he hangs up and doesn't say, okay, love you, bye. He just was normal and hung up. And I was like, man, maybe he's got some potential to be a normal person.
No, he does not. No, he does not.
Dude, I almost ordered that shirt.
That shirt's funny.
Have we told the people on here what that means? Because like Jared used to be their shift supervisor, but you're the lieutenant, and then you promoted to or got a new position, whatever you want to call it, and then I came in, and instead of they call me like I'm the stepdad, so they call me step sergeant.
Yeah.
And then it's funny as you're like, yeah, I was the dad that left for milk, and then Cycle's the one that he came and he just has to put up with you because he's with your mom.
Yeah. Hey, you're the dad that is dating the mom, and you just have to put up with him. I'm the dad that left for milk and never came back.
All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and cut this one off. We're coming up on an hour.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see if people hate this.
We're about to go get some lunch, or
yeah, we need to.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, it's almost noon. All right, everybody. We're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna edit this thing real quick and get it out for everybody. But thanks for listening.
Bum bum bum.
You have been listening to Code 0.5, the lighter side of police work. If you have ideas or suggestions for our show, we'd love to hear from you. Visit our website at code05.co. That's code05.co. And please consider making a donation at our Patreon page, patreon.com/code05. Be sure to use the digits 05. Thanks for listening to Code 0.5.